Hey everybody, welcome back to Ready Steady Play, where we just finished playing Crisis at Steamfall.
Yes, we did. We just finished winning Crisis of Steamfall, actually.
Yeah, pretty hard.
We won harder than anyone's ever won before.
We don't know that.
How can you win hard? Well, okay, it is equally as hard, right? I suppose the only thing, only thing we could have achieved was if we got Ben into the party at the end.
Yeah, or gotten rid of all the civilians. I mean, that's a thing to do.
But civilians, they're only bad if the Mechanized just killed them.
I mean, it looks good that there's loads of civilians on the streets.
Yeah, not everyone died.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get to install the missing part into my secret lab.
So sad.
I know. The missing part will be missing forever.
So now that we've won the game, I'm going to take off my solar powered.
By the way, everybody take a quick look.
That everything's actually terrible. No, we're actually machine slaves.
I
was just going to say, take a look at this setup here, because this is obviously the optimal setup for Marcus.
I never used this bar.
Yeah, I never used that column either.
I don't think
the far right column. Just I definitely think it's a glitch, Chris, that you've got one extra.
Yeah, I also agree.
Yeah,
I think they've probably.
But that's the rule book. So
yeah, that was it was like that in the rule book.
Yeah.
So I should have had. So I was actually playing like hampered the whole game.
Yeah, you had a handicap the whole time,
and I still bossed it. So.
I quite like this.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's an interesting puzzle.
Yeah. It reminds me of Mage Knight. It has, in the way that you have like a load of actions and you can do loads of things. You want to do one specific thing, but if you can't do it, you still try and just do the most like optimal and efficient thing you can do with your shitload of actions that you get.
Yeah,
which is what I like about it. It's very satisfying.
And I liked that I like how it sort of escalates, snowballs. What I would like to see maybe is a slightly better balance of the difficulty, like more crises at the end, or 3 crises deck, one for each round that gets progressively harder.
Yeah. But when you destroy the third pylon, some sort of escalation happens.
Yeah, or every
like
time
a rush or something.
Yeah.
The flow is definitely needs a bit of work.
It's kind of topsy-turvy.
Yeah. Well, no, the flow's fine. It starts good, At the beginning, it seems really hard, but it's manageable. But then you get way too powerful and the difficulty doesn't change.
Yeah, the difficulty is stagnant, yeah.
The difficulty should, rather than be flat, it should be like this, where it starts actually easier than it did and ends a lot harder than it did. That would have been a lot better. But
I agree with that.
The way we moved up was perfect. That was fine. It's just the game needed that changed.
Yeah, and I definitely agree the game needs some alterations of difficulty, because I love co-ops in general, and one of the things I love about it, I've said to you before, I like to lose co-ops my first time. Mm-hmm. I might have even said it here, actually. I think that it definitely needs some sort of variation to the challenge. As you said, the escalation just seems like our progression is fine, but it's like the enemies don't scale.
Yeah,
it's like the enemies don't scale.
But what I did love was so one way to do that would be like every time you destroy a pylon, put a crystal on each enemy on the board. Something like that.
Or maybe have each other pylon require one more charge to be removed or something.
Yeah.
Because it looked unbelievably impossible when we first started playing. Like, how on earth could you ever do this?
I was like, don't worry, it kind of escalates.
But you still were a little worried yourself that we could never possibly win it when we first started.
Yeah, true, but I'd only played the competitive mode.
Yeah.
So there's a competitive mode, which we'll talk about a bit later in Final Thoughts. But I just wanted to say, your character... Huh?
We are in Final Thoughts.
I said a bit later on Final Thoughts.
Oh, on Final Thoughts.
I wanted to say before I start talking about the competitive mode, I loved your character. I loved all the characters.
Yeah.
Your character was very cool, riding around on a monkey, sniping people across the map.
My character was so fun. I really liked this as this character. This was really cool. I felt like, at first I was like, I can't do much. And then I was like, whoa, if I do this and I do that.
Snipe and all.
Then I was like, boom, 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 boom. I've killed like 4 people. It was really cool.
My character felt almost like a support character. And yes, it was really fun.
Yeah.
I found him...
I like the art and the art style, the substance, and your crazy affliction device.
Yeah, that I'm wearing.
Do you normally like support characters?
I usually find that playing support characters, you kind of tend to get sidelined. Yeah. I think everyone feels that way a little bit with support characters. But this kind of I felt like I was actively contributing at all times, and I was which is all support characters. Obviously, all support characters are actively contributing, but I just felt a bit more involved than I usually would while playing a support character.
Well, the good thing about this is in most games, support characters are just regular characters with some support abilities. But in this game, we're all actually completely different in how we run and what resources we're attuned to and how we strategize. Because everything's different. These tokens are different. We have completely different mood things. We have different starting items. What else is different? You have items. We don't start with items. That's almost asymmetric that you have starting items.
Oh, I said this to Michael.
With a location
the combination of potential actions are all.
And Chris needs to find this item in the relic deck and stuff like that. So it's
in
cool
competitive mode, right? Chris's character has something in the competitive mode that's different.
Yeah,
is that what you mean?
We were all a bit different in the competitive mode as well. Yeah. Michael was this Ivy character who had to spread influence in districts with people to gain renown, which is victory points. Whereas I had to find secret locations and install my devices. And but in this mode as well, it felt like you were really good at murdering, and I was really good at sort of moving around the board and moving you around the board and stuff like that. That was really cool. And then Chris, you had this you were really good at affecting your mood to get what you needed.
Yeah, the substance just was so easy to do that with. Yeah,
I felt it was a bit of a shame that we didn't get a bit more out of the civilians. It felt like that was never really...
Mephistopheles was crucial.
It feels like these civilians feel very much like they're for the competitive mode.
They're a lot more... They did have a lot more impact on the competitive mode.
This is a jump scare. Each other character in current area must drop a scrap.
Yeah.
Yes, take that kind of stuff.
But I gain a good mood because I watch everyone get scared. I like the mechanic. I like how the mechanics actually... makes sense. We're reloading guns. It's quite cool.
Your jam is reloading guns. Obviously, I've got this steam channeler that I charge up with engineering. So I guess I'm cranking it or setting it up, and then I spend the charge to suck up steam from the area, which I can then use to put into my channeler's staff to get that functioning.
Yeah,
I like how this
it's all one thing. If you look at your artwork, it's all connected.
Yeah.
You
can see the whole
channel staff is connected to your steam channel.
So that's my steam channeler.
The designer really thought about this. That's really cool.
I mean, my favorite thing about the game is definitely the this action
column
and the way you set it up per turn. It's my favorite thing.
Building the action columns.
Well, yeah, because it feels like a combination of deck building and programming. And to be honest, it's I haven't really seen anything quite like this before.
No, me neither.
And I always appreciate anything new
and interesting.
Even if it doesn't work out, even if it ends up being a bad mechanic, it's still good to have experimented. Yeah. But this is a good mechanic, and I like it. So yeah, because you can. I'm always more eager to play a game where it actually tries something different.
And I quite like how you just add them. You don't need to spend resources or make a choice. Because I feel like if I had to make a choice, do this or do something else or whatever, it'd be a bit too stressful.
Yeah, because the choice about what to put where is already so hard. Sorry, Ben, go on.
Well, no, I disagree. I liked it a lot. I liked what it was trying to do.
You disagree that my favourite thing is...
No, I disagree that I wouldn't say it's my favourite. I really like this, but it's probably my least... I liked everything. I think it's my least favourite thing.
Really?
But only for one reason. I love the idea of programming. I think it's a great, cool mechanic. It's brilliant. My only problem with it is that it feels like it falls short of being able to have this sort of real strategic potential. Because you have to do it every turn, you can't really plan too far ahead because it's fixed and it's static. It feels like you didn't. I feel like I ended up like this, and it wasn't it's not great. It's not bad. It would be really cool if I was playing it, and maybe you can take some out and put them in, and maybe there's some level of being able to swap them around, which means that you feel a little bit more satisfied that I actually did a really good program here because I've looked at 2 turns ahead and I programmed for 2 turns ahead, rather than put one thing in for the whole game.
I agree with that. I think the reason it falls short slightly is because the game is very short. The game isn't long enough to get full potential.
But even if it was longer, you'd still be. It's just because it's too static. That's it. It just needs to be a bit more dynamic.
But because I was thinking about, wouldn't it be cool to have? Because obviously now that I've placed all my things, I've completed my player board. Wouldn't it be cool to have more? And then I've got all this choice to make. But my concern is that it's already difficult, and that would slow it down more. Because I was thinking the other cool thing would be what if you had a decision where instead of adding one, you could move one, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning. But and then you're talking about like looking 2 turns ahead and seeing what you might need down the line. My concern is that when I'm taking my turn and I'm grabbing these actions, and then I'm moving around the board, and I'm going into these areas to affect my mood, to get more actions, and then I'm finding items and playing those to the board, which are doing things that I didn't even know would happen, and now suddenly I've got all this more opportunity, and it sort of snowballs and escalates as I get more opportunities because things are going well and I'm spending charges. And I'm worried that so much of my turn was actually I couldn't anticipate it. Yeah. That if I was trying to look ahead and plan my turns with this board, it would actually be impossible.
I think you make a very good point. I think actually the fact that in the end game, this is a lot less. Building this is a lot less important. Yeah. But in the end game, you have more shit to do. In the early game, you don't have as much shit to do, so it's actually all about this, and that's actually quite nice. So the game, so maybe I take it back.
The focus shifts.
Yeah. It shifts from building this puzzle to your engine building, which is what it becomes, and that's actually quite nice. Maybe the game started as just this, and they were like, "Well, the early game's kind of boring." Oh, I know. They probably had this like afterthought or did it the other way around.
I do agree with something you alluded to, which would be nice to have maybe more of maybe twice as many of them. Although it would create some issues with.
I like how we've got different ones.
But I don't agree with. I would not like to be able to swap them. Because I think that's having your cake and eating it. I think I want to suffer the consequences of my program.
That would be an and/or,
no, I still wouldn't like it because I want it. If I make this decision, that's just me personally. I'm not. It's not the be all and end all, obviously. But if I make a quadruple run action because I really need it this turn, and I get to do something excellent because I made that commitment, I want to then in a later turn I want to feel the consequences of now I've got this con that only makes me move.
Yeah,
there should be a give and take.
The repercussions of your decision earlier. Yeah, that's true. But then again, I agree. I think obviously they've made it this way. I know that this has been quite heavily play tested, so this is obviously something they've probably tried this and decided this was a better way.
Well, that's why you have a starting configuration, so you can't actually shaft yourself. Have you noticed? It starts in a particular order, so you can't just mess up your entire game, which is nice. You can tell they did that through testing.
Yeah. But I was just going to say, later on, though, if you do move that column to but to sort of undo the commitment you made earlier, that still means that there's going to be all these other things that then you don't get to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it might work. I might actually love it if I tried it, but my instinct is I want to feel those consequences. Well, I would love those. I'd love some horizontal ones.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Make a proper, fucking Tetris puzzle.
Yeah. Get it Uwe Rosenberg style Tetris tiling. Maybe not quite that, actually, but no, I definitely like a double or even a triple horizontal or something like that. Actually, they can play with that a bit more.
Something that would have been kind of cool, actually, would be if there were better ones that you could pick up on the board.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. Special
ones. That's not terrible.
Yeah.
But I like how we're all really into this mechanic. That's really promising.
Even though it's Bensley's favourite aspect of the game.
Yeah. No, I really approve it.
This mechanic's a tick VG from me. This is what would bring me actually back to the game. Or it's what would make me. What would make me. How I play, if I played it at a friend's and then was at a shop trying to decide what game to buy, I'd be like, oh yeah, I love that mechanic. I'll get this one.
For me, it's the different characters would bring me back because they're so different. It's not just playing a character with one different ability or one different starting resource. You've got a completely different setup or
one special ability.
Yeah,
it's
once per game,
like Pandemic, where it's which I love. Don't get me wrong, but whereas you got one special ability and that's it. Apart from that, you're the same.
You're just very. You're just slightly totally varied. Yeah, this is a lot better.
Yeah, and they tie into. I like the way they tie into their items. They feel thematic.
We haven't talked about the scrap.
We didn't get to build many items.
No, that was a shame.
I got a solar powered ancient Oculus Rift.
We didn't do the.
But we didn't have a full 3-item thing.
Yeah, sure. Well,
I didn't get any add-ons or power.
Just make
units.
You could just you could get. Give me a few items there.
I'm trying to find.
Yeah. Bits and bobs.
What do you need, Ben?
I want an item, a regular item.
Can I have a right-hand side add-on?
I want an acid.
Give me
spider.
any right-hand. There you go. Any right-hand side add-on.
All right, I got it.
Right, so I could have the solar-powered ancient Oculus of Speed.
Well, actually, I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Oh, right, you can't do items.
I can't remember. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, still, it'll be fun.
I've got a good one. I've got the.
Obviously, it didn't come up.
I've got the winch-powered acid spider of Euphoria.
That's really cool. If just returning very briefly to,
And I really like that.
This is amazing. I love.
The
I
name-
love
yeah, well, that
the
is-
name. The fact that the
It's
name,
funny, isn't
the
it?
names work, and it's funny, and it's actually useful. Like it's entertaining and it's functional.
It's saying it's also functional upgrades. Yeah,
It's genius. This is actually really really cool.
I just want to
This is my favorite part. This is my favorite part of the game.
And we didn't even get to do it.
Ask the Spider of Euphoria.
With the flow, one thing I just want to return to say is the one thing I wasn't that was a bit disappointing was that we on your first turn of round 3, so that was turn number what
7 of 9.
7 of 7 no
Well, we have 9 turns each.
right sure okay so
my 7.
so turn 7 of no it wasn't turn
Your
7 it was your first turn
your
turn
turn-
3 of 9
Yeah, turn 3. Yeah,
turn 3 of 9
1, 2, 3.
You mean my
it was
last...
turn 21 of it was turn 21 of 27 in the entire game.
Okay.
Turn 21 of 27. So that's 6 over 27. That's a huge percentage of the game was technically left when we were in a non-losable state.
Yeah, that's true.
That was quite
Well, yeah.
Well, I think that's
would
sort of
say-
why, straight up, we just mentioned it needs to sort of be able to scale the
That's
vehicle.
the only downside.
That's
that this game
approximately
has,
20.
yeah.
That's approximately
At the
20,
moment, this
20%
prototype.
or so in it.
Do we say this is a prototype? Do we give that caveat?
Yeah, this is a prototype.
Okay.
Absolutely. There
It's
are
not finished.
Yeah. It says in the rulebook, like, and also there are a few infinite loops you can create. There's actually a loop that gets you infinite resources, and they are being addressed by the designer.
Is there any plan for like more characters? We've got 4 characters in this prototype.
Yeah, it's a up to 4 player game.
Is that a 4-player game?
Yeah.
Do we
Up to
have
4.
do we have more in the stretch goals?
I don't know anything about the stretch goals. I actually have no idea what form the campaign will take. I know that it launches on the 14th of May.
Do we have miniatures?
I'm sure the community will demand miniatures and standees, but I actually don't mind these little tokens. They work really well for me.
As long as it's consistent, because you want to actually really frustrate.
Yeah, if there were
I hate
miniatures
miniatures
and
for
not
us.
miniatures,
Yeah, that really
then that would be
winds me
lame.
up.
Well, and we have miniatures and the enemies are tokens.
Yeah, that winds me up
I
so
guess
much.
these could be portraits.
It doesn't bother me, but
These
that's
could-
fine.
These could be
I
standees.
like consistency.
Yeah, standees.
These could be
Standees and
standees.
tokens would be
That would
fine,
be
but a fully sculpted, gorgeous miniature and then a little token would annoy me.
But I mean, even if these were minis and these were minis, it wouldn't
doesn't
look
need
as
minis
clear
at all,
because
no.
this is clear. This is really easy to see. The coloring's great. The art's beautiful. It's really pleasant to the eye. But I think once you've got like a grey mini on here,
I assume there's going to be more of these. Is this modular? I assume you can.
yeah, like this is random every time.
Yep.
Are there more of these?
But no,
Yeah.
there are only 9 in the. So in a
Why is there
4-player
a gap?
game,
Oh, I see.
in a 4-player game, you have the
Right.
4th pylon basically.
sure.
But the prototype only had 9 tiles, so I don't know if that's maybe I'm sure they'll put more tiles.
I'm
I
sure
imagine
that there is lots of opportunity here to offer stretch goals and extra bits and pieces
Yeah, definitely.
when they run their campaign. I will say that the game has 2 full modes. This is the cooperative mode you've seen us play here. There's a competitive mode as well, which it's actually a story. See, what we're doing here is these alien relics, pylons here, have crashed into the city, and then we've built up our city around them and used their alien technology to sort of fuel our endeavors and our steampunk nature. But the evil alien technology has corrupted the citizens, turning them into the mechanized zombies, which we now have to destroy and destroy the pylons in order to save the city. In the competitive mode, it's actually after the pylons have appeared, but before the cities become corrupt by their power. And what you're doing is you're running around the city as individuals, trying to help the citizens and sort of unlock the power of the pylons in order to gain renown. And the person at the end of the game with the most renown is the winner. I had some issues playing with the competitive mode, but I'm not sure if I played it again, if they would still remain.
We haven't played it, so you'd have to.
Well, one of the issues.
Can I just do one more? Sorry to interrupt. Okay, I got the mystically powered clockwork cigar of Euphoria, which is a very dubious happening.
Increase your mood to maximum.
Infinite mood for the rest of the game.
Your mood cannot fall below max. But I found in the competitive mode that charging items was almost never worth it. I rarely had enough actions, but sometimes I would have lots of actions left over that I couldn't use.
What do you use violence for in the competitive mode?
So in the competitive mode, violence and charm are the same.
What?
So you
use them to interact with citizens.
You either intimidate them or charm them.
Oh, they're not the same. They function the same, but
Yeah,
thematically
mechanically the same, but thematically you're
Gotcha.
intimidating them or whatever.
As opposed to persuading.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it was designed as a cooperative game.
Yeah, there's definitely some thought put into the competitive mode. Like these character, there are cards and stuff. You don't use these crises. You have an event deck instead,
and you have some relic cards as well. There's it's actually quite different.
All our character cards also they're double sided, and the other side is the competitive version.
Yeah. So instead of a power fist and a beam rifle, I'll have observation tools and intimidation tools, which is not nearly as cool, quite frankly.
Mine are actually more or less the same. My extraction tools are the same, but I get a vision device instead of a friction device.
Yeah, and mine are actually the same names, but I do like the competitive mode. I think it could be really good if they just tighten up a few little bits and pieces in it.
Okay.
I think this mode is enough to play. I think there's enough cool stuff happening here. I'd like to see, especially maybe instead of having mechanized guys that just level up, you could have maybe more variety of enemies that did slightly different things.
Do you know if the final version has a set, like a difficulty you can set? A way you can...
We don't know. Do we know if it has a box?
It will definitely have a box.
Okay, cool.
No, it's not actually technically guaranteed.
This is a stand-in for the box. There will be a box in the final retail version. I can promise you that. And then they ship it in a bag, and I'm like, shit.
And they won't even give the picture. It'll just be a bag.
It's thematic. It's a steampunk bag. But
I think you'd need to...
I do really like the premise of the competitive mode as well, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, I'd be interested to try it, actually.
It would be cool. I thought the competitive mode would have you're sniping each other around the board.
You can impact each other. I'm trying to remember how exactly. But you don't really... you don't do damage to one another. There's no direct conflict. Yeah. It's more sort of sabotaging each other, and you lose items or whatever. You can also sort of pit people at the post by going and getting events and getting the renown before they can.
Okay, so it's more of a race.
Yeah, it's sort of a race around the board to complete sort of mini things.
That doesn't sound nearly as cool as what we did.
No.
Yeah,
this was definitely better.
We did too.
I do think though to get replay value you do need more locations and or more characters. Because if we played this again with exactly the same setup, I feel it would play out very similarly.
It'd be cool as well to have different enemies rather than just more health and actions. I don't know how that would work, but maybe different AI behaviors.
Well, that's what I was saying. They could sabotage a secret location instead, or maybe they get rid of the ruins.
Or just change their priorities.
Or different scenarios. So this was the scenario where they go for the middle. You maybe have another scenario where they start killing all the locations. Maybe
have a steam vampire who follows you around stealing your charges.
Oh, one big bad that you're all trying to avoid while you do that's
or something. Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential here, definitely. I hope they do that. Actually, I hope they put in a few scenarios rather than this one co-op scenario.
It's got super high potential, and it's got a really, really excellent.
This is a really solid game already, and
mechanics are good. Yeah.
Lots of ways to sort of improve it and make it even better.
Yeah, absolutely,
for sure. Yeah, I would definitely. Would you back it?
I would back it.
Would you back it?
I think so. I'd want to have a look at the. I want to have a good look at the Kickstarter page because I want to make sure there's that replay value.
Well, this is great.
If this was it, no, because I played it and we won.
Yeah. Okay, understand.
Under the assumption there's more tiles, hopefully more characters,
better difficulty,
definitely more variations in the setup of the tiles
and the difficulty.
Then 100% I would back this.
Yeah, I love that there's no dice, and I really like this little column building thing. That's interesting enough to me. I don't have anything like that in my collection. Even the Uwe games are so different in the way that you place tiles and fit things in. It's totally different. So
it doesn't need to be that crazy, but I definitely hope they play with this a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely want more characters.
Yeah,
but as it stands,
even though you love yours.
I really love this character. I don't think I'd ever play as any other character, quite frankly. I love it so much.
I'd like a longer version. I would actually like a longer version where
there's a bunch of variants in the rulebook we haven't looked at.
Is there?
Do you have the rulebook? Just grab the rulebook.
Oh yes, that's right. There's a bag of variant cards that comes with the game. I totally forgot.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They're the back.
Can you get the? I'll look at this. Can you get the variant cards out the bag there? Yes. So I did look at this. There's not.
It's for competitive modes. Yeah.
So you can actually there is a tough map mode though. To provide a greater challenge to players or offset perceived imbalance due to turn order, you may use gate tokens. Right. So the gate tokens go down on the board between areas to make moving around harder.
Gate tokens.
Yeah.
That was another thing, the turn order being static.
But that's competitive only.
Yeah. I think the turn order being static was a thing that was good because it kept it hard for us, but I would prefer if the turn order... I would prefer if the turn order was more freeform and the game was way harder. That would be a lot more fun, because then it would give us more choice if we would... Cool, and this one...
So the variants only really affect competitive mode. But it would be cool.
We would like some cooperative variants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Or I would like to see some crises decks that escalate in difficulty. Like, all you'd need is just to change the color on the back of the card or whatever and draw them escalate each round.
Shuffle.
Oh, yeah, or just build a deck at the start.
Yeah.
Because it's a fixed, it's for every round, You could have like a longer game variant. So many things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So many ideas. Yeah, it's definitely...
I'm sure that Thomas, the designer, has lots of ideas himself.
Yeah. I hope you're watching this and you take into account what we suggest.
I hope you already thought of all the things we said, because that too. That tends to happen.
A lot of them probably, yeah.
I hope they're already going in right now as we speak.
So we're very excited to see the campaign, and we hope this video has helped you decide on, or this video series has helped you decide whether this is something you're interested in, and that you check out their Kickstarter campaign. And I think that's pretty much everything we've got to say about Crisis at Steamfall.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for coming on this journey with us, everyone, and we will see you in the next series.
Bye.